Hello MotoGP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today, the new docuseries Marc Márquez. All on Red pulls back the curtain on one of the boldest career moves in recent MotoGP memory. Márquez's decision to leave Honda and bet everything on Ducati. In a reflective sit-down, the 9-time world champion explains why the switch was more than tactical. It was personal, risky, and ultimately restorative. We break his story to explain the gamble, the recovery, the team dynamics, and what it all means for the future. MotoGP welcomes one of its most anticipated newcomers, WorldSBK superstar Toprak Razgatlioglu. Arriving with multiple world titles and huge expectations, the Turkish rider faces a steep learning curve as he adapts to MotoGP machinery, new circuits, and unprecedented media attention. Speaking candidly, Toprak has already set his sights beyond the present, framing 2026 as a year of adaptation and 2027 as the true moment of opportunity. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Márquez describes his move to Ducati as the ultimate career wager, not a step, but a leap. After years of injury and doubt, he chose to place a definitive bet on a machine and environment very different from the one that made him a superstar. That decision carried enormous risk, new bike, new team culture, and the pressure of proving he could still perform at the highest level. Yet the documentary shows those risks were intentional and measured. A choice driven by the conviction that Ducati's Desmosedici and the Borgo Panigale project offered the best path back to the top. I'd bet a lot by switching to Ducati, and it was the final bet, all in red. Quote from Marc Márquez. That phrase, all in red, frames the season as both a career-defining gamble and the start of a personal reinvention that the rider felt he had to attempt. Central to Márquez's narrative is the process of rebuilding confidence. He candidly explains how losing faith in one's body and instincts creates a vicious cycle. You ride stiffer, you feel every twitch, and the bike becomes an opponent rather than an ally. The Ducati chapter, he says, offered a reset, a way to clear the slate and rebuild instinct and enjoyment. The documentary highlights small pivots and key moments that allowed him to follow his natural racing instinct again, step-by-step restoration rather than a single dramatic recovery. When you start losing confidence, you enter a cycle where you lose even more. For Márquez, the message is clear. Rebuilding a champion is as much about mental recalibration as it is about mechanical changes, and Ducati provided the platform to do both. Márquez frames his own comeback in a team context. Ducati is not a single rider story. He insists a healthy project needs both riders at the front, and he expresses confidence that Pecco Bagnaia has the ingredients to return to form. That point is tactical and strategic. A two-pronged assault from the factory benefits everything from development feedback to championship depth. Márquez's stance is not confrontational, it's pragmatic. A strong Bagnaia, he argues, strengthens the whole Ducati blueprint. I think Pecco will be back. He has the talent, he has the team. The endorsement is both collegial and pointed. Ducati's long-term success depends on lifting everyone in the garage, not just one headline name. Above the tactics and engineering, Márquez returns again and again to meaning. Winning after repeated surgeries and painful setbacks reframed the title for him. It's more than a trophy, it's the end of a personal chapter. The documentary captures how victory restored not only his competitive status but his inner calm, the sense that years of suffering had a purpose and that he could, finally, be at peace with what he'd endured. For Márquez, this is the deepest payoff, a sporting triumph wrapped in human recovery. I started 5 years ago with a very serious injury, and the value of this championship, for me, is greater than any other. That perspective recasts the season as a human story of damage, patience and redemption, a narrative that transcends race results. All on Red portrays Marc Márquez's 2025 as a high-stakes human drama played out at 350 km/h, a rider who risked everything, found a path to rebuild, and still believes in the collective strength of his team. His faith in Bagnaia, his insistence on the team dynamic, and the personal meaning he attaches to the title make this more than a comeback, it's a reinvention. As Márquez looks ahead, the documentary suggests his mission isn't done. He's not just racing for wins but for the long recovery of a career, and the hope that teammates, rivals and fans will all rise with him. Toprak Razgatlioglu's path into MotoGP is anything but conventional. Unlike most rookies, he arrives not from Moto2 but straight from WorldSBK, bringing with him 3 world titles and a reputation for flair and fearlessness. Yet his first taste of MotoGP quickly revealed how different this world really is. The scale of the paddock, the number of personnel, and the intense media spotlight marked a sharp contrast to the more intimate superbike environment he knew so well. The transition, Toprak admits, was overwhelming at first, not on the bike alone, but mentally. The first test was stressful for me because there were so many people around me and outside the garage with cameras. For a rider used to being the reference point, MotoGP has demanded a recalibration, one that starts with absorbing the atmosphere before mastering the machinery. Despite the hype surrounding his arrival, Toprak is striking a measured tone. He knows MotoGP success rarely comes instantly, especially for a rider adapting to carbon brakes, radically different aerodynamics, and unfamiliar circuits. Rather than chasing unrealistic targets, he emphasizes learning, understanding the bike, the tires, and the rhythm of a championship that allows no weak weekends. Podiums, he says, would be a bonus rather than an expectation in year one. I have to be realistic. Maybe not in the first year. That realism underscores a mindset focused on long-term growth, not short-term headlines, a rare but necessary approach for a rookie stepping into MotoGP's deep end. Comparing WorldSBK to MotoGP, Toprak highlights just how profound the technical differences are. From tire dimensions to engine character, everything demands a new riding language. Still, he approaches the challenge with curiosity rather than frustration, acknowledging that adaptation is part of the process. While MotoGP's current package is unfamiliar, the rider is confident in his ability to evolve, just as he has throughout his career. Everything is new, but I have to adapt. I also have to learn. That willingness to reset and rebuild may prove as important as raw speed in determining how quickly Toprak finds his footing. Looking further ahead, Toprak's optimism grows. The sweeping technical reset scheduled for 2027, including reduced power and a switch to Pirelli tires, plays directly into his strengths. Having spent years mastering Pirelli rubber in WorldSBK, he believes the new era could level the field and open a genuine window of opportunity. Combined with expectations of a stronger Yamaha project under the new regulations, 2027 stands out as the season where ambition meets belief. My biggest goal is 2027. For Toprak, it's not about shortcuts, it's about timing. A fresh technical landscape, a familiar tire supplier, and a season of MotoGP experience already banked. Toprak Razgatlioglu enters MotoGP not as a dreamer, but as a strategist. Acknowledging the scale of the challenge, embracing the learning curve, and fixing his eyes firmly on 2027, the Turkish rookie is playing a long game. If patience and preparation matter as much as talent in MotoGP, Toprak's measured approach may prove to be his strongest move yet. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!